They believed they could quietly remove her from the story, but they had no idea what kind of reaction it would spark. Leaving Caitlin Clark off the Team USA roster for the Summer Games had already become one of the most debated decisions in women's basketball history. But new claims suggest the disrespect may have gone far beyond simply not selecting her. We're talking about something that many people find difficult to believe. Reports from inside the selection process suggest that before the final decision was made, there may have been an offer presented to Clark that felt almost designed to be turned down. Rumors claim officials discussed giving Clark a role as a high-profile alternate, but with one condition that struck at the heart of her identity. Allegedly, they planned to take away her famous number 22 and assign her jersey number 12 instead. In elite basketball, jersey numbers are more than just numbers. They carry meaning and status. Number 12 is often viewed in basketball culture as the number given to the last player on the roster, the player who fills out the bench. According to the rumors, the proposal carried so much disrespect that it reportedly sparked frustration behind the scenes, with players like Sophie Cunningham, known for her toughness and competitive spirit, allegedly refusing to support the politics surrounding the situation. This was no longer just a roster decision. It became a symbol of a much larger battle. To understand why the jersey number rumor caused such a reaction, you have to understand what Caitlin Clark represents. She is more than a basketball player. She is a brand. The number 22 is directly connected to her identity. Fans wear it everywhere. It appears throughout the record books, and it has become a symbol of a changing era in women's sports. If the Team USA committee truly suggested she wear number 12, many viewed it as an attempt to reduce her influence. It sent the message, "You are not the main attraction here. Be grateful you're included at all." It fits the gatekeeping narrative that has followed the league all season. Many established stars and longtime veterans have appeared reluctant to hand over the spotlight. Had Clark accepted a spot while wearing number 12, it would have looked like she was accepting her place in the existing hierarchy, stepping behind players like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart. It would have reflected the reality check Taurasi warned about before the season began. But what the committee may not have expected was that other players around the league, especially those who fought hard to earn their opportunities, would recognize the situation for what they believed it was: bullying disguised as procedure. The reaction was immediate, but Sophie Cunningham's reported involvement adds an entirely new layer. Cunningham, a standout for the Phoenix Mercury, has never been known for backing down. She has often embraced a tough, confrontational role and is respected for her understanding of the game. If she truly opposed the treatment of Clark, it signals a significant shift within the locker room. The media often frames the conversation as Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA, suggesting every veteran is against her. But Cunningham's reported frustration with the politics suggests there are players who are tired of the gatekeeping. They understand what Clark brings to the league. They recognize that her success benefits everyone. By treating the league's biggest attraction with such obvious disrespect, allegedly offering her a bench role and a less meaningful number, many believe league leaders risked slowing the growth of the sport itself. If the rumors are accurate and players quietly pushed back against the national team's promotional efforts because of it, then it suggests the league may have lost support from within. To fully understand the significance of this controversy, we have to revisit the timeline surrounding the snub. When the roster was revealed, the explanations from the committee felt weak to many observers. Officials pointed to experience, seniority, and defensive chemistry. They argued that international competition required players who had already been through those situations. But when fans looked at Clark's production and offensive impact, many felt those explanations didn't hold up. The decision appeared personal. It appeared political. And the jersey number 12 rumor became the strongest piece of evidence supporting that belief. It suggested they may have been willing to include her only if she accepted being humbled first. They wanted her talent but not her spotlight. They wanted the benefits of her popularity while keeping her on the bench in a number associated with limited importance. It resembled the kind of hazing people expect from teenagers, not from the highest levels of professional sports. That is exactly why the reaction became so intense. Fans can tell the difference between a basketball decision and a decision driven by ego. The irony is impossible to ignore. For years, WNBA players fought for respect. They fought for better salaries, charter flights, and increased media attention. They wanted the public to notice them. Then a player arrived who captured worldwide attention. She sold out arenas. She shattered viewership records. She moved merchandise at unprecedented levels. And instead of embracing that momentum, many believe the establishment tried to minimize her. According to the rumors, they were willing to place her in jersey number 12 and keep her at the end of the bench. Many sports business experts have pointed to the situation as a remarkable example of self-inflicted damage. Clark's absence from the Olympics is believed by some analysts to have cost the league and broadcasters millions in potential revenue. And for what reason? To protect the status of a few veterans worried about losing attention. Sophie Cunningham's reported resistance highlights that not everyone was willing to go along with that approach. Let's look closer at the veteran mentality that many believe fueled the controversy. Diana Taurasi, one of the greatest players in basketball history, became the face of that discussion. Her comments about reality coming were interpreted by many as a warning directed toward Clark. It suggested the veterans had no intention of making life easy for the rookie, and many believe their actions reflected that attitude. From hard fouls to subtle media criticism, the welcome seemed limited. The Olympic roster was supposed to represent pure merit. It was meant to be the place where the best players represented the country. Yet critics argue the committee valued seniority over present-day impact. Instead of embracing change, they chose familiarity. They understood that Clark's presence would attract attention. Every practice, game, and interview would focus on her. And veterans who spent years competing outside the spotlight may not have wanted to share it. The jersey number controversy appeared to many as a test. Would she accept whatever role was offered? Would she settle for what remained? When that didn't happen, she was reportedly left off altogether. But Clark's silence became one of her strongest responses. While fans argued online, commentators debated the fairness of the decision, and rumors circulated about Sophie Cunningham's frustration, Clark remained quiet. She didn't complain. She didn't attack anyone. She simply kept playing. She continued breaking assist records, recording triple-doubles, and proving night after night that she belonged among the world's elite players. That silence frustrated her critics. They wanted a reaction. They wanted her to appear entitled. Instead, her calm approach made the league's actions look even smaller by comparison. Had she publicly complained about jersey number 12, critics might have labeled her a diva. By ignoring the rumors and focusing on basketball, she shifted attention back onto those making the decisions. Sophie Cunningham's role in this story cannot be ignored. Sports are often viewed through rivalries, but alliances matter just as much. Cunningham represents the hard-working mentality many fans admire in the WNBA. She has never been treated as a media favorite. She has earned everything through effort and persistence. If reports are true that she opposed Clark's treatment, it reinforces what millions of fans have been saying. It suggests these concerns are not limited to online speculation. It indicates that some people inside the league also believe things have gone too far. The idea that she refused to play along may not mean she literally refused to participate. Instead, it suggests she rejected the culture of hazing and exclusion. It reflects a refusal to support the tearing down of a generational talent. It sends a clear message to league leadership: players are paying attention, and not everyone approves. We also need to examine the selection committee itself. Who are the people making these decisions, and why do they appear comfortable making choices that many believe hurt the sport's growth? The committee consists of former players, coaches, and administrators deeply connected to the WNBA's history. They serve as the gatekeepers. To them, the national team may be viewed as a reward earned through years of dedication. They may see it as recognition for a long career rather than a showcase of the game's most marketable stars. That gap between basketball tradition and business reality appears to be what created this controversy. The committee seemingly believed they could leave Clark off the roster and fans would simply accept it. They expected people to agree that she should wait her turn. Instead, they underestimated how much the landscape had changed. For many new fans, Caitlin Clark has become the face of the WNBA. Excluding her felt like organizing a concert and leaving the headline act outside. Then there is the jersey number itself. Why does number 12 carry so much weight? In sports psychology, numbers become part of an athlete's identity. Michael Jordan is 23. Wayne Gretzky is 99. Caitlin Clark is 22. Giving her another number already changes that identity, but offering a number often linked with the end of the bench sends an even stronger message. It suggests she is replaceable. It becomes a subtle insult delivered on a very public stage. These are the kinds of moments athletes remember forever. If the rumors are accurate, the committee did more than make a roster decision. They may have created motivation that will stay with Clark throughout her career. They may have given her another reason to chase every record available. And when she eventually reaches another Olympic opportunity 4 years from now, many believe she will be in a position of far greater power. The aftermath became a public relations challenge for USA basketball. Questions about Clark followed the team everywhere. The athletes who made the roster, all outstanding players in their own right, found their achievements overshadowed by discussion of the player who was missing. Whenever the team struggled or lacked energy, social media filled with comments suggesting Clark would have made a difference. The controversy followed the team throughout the tournament. In trying to avoid distractions related to Caitlin Clark, they created something far larger. Their goal was to keep the focus on the roster, but the conversation repeatedly returned to the player left behind. From a public relations standpoint, it became a major strategic mistake. Then there are the reports of internal tension. If players such as Sophie Cunningham truly pushed back against the decision-makers, it points to deeper divisions within the WNBA. For years, the league operated with a strong sense of unity. Players stood together against outside criticism. But as money and attention increase, new divisions are appearing. Some players benefit from the Clark effect. Others may feel threatened by it. The jersey number 12 controversy may simply be the visible part of a larger issue. At its core may be envy. Watching someone achieve in months what others spent years pursuing can be difficult. That is a natural human reaction. But managing those emotions is the responsibility of leadership. Critics argue the league failed in that responsibility. Instead of controlling the situation, they allowed it to become a public relations disaster. Looking at it from the fans' perspective adds another layer. The supporters critics sometimes call the Caitlin cult are far from casual observers. They are deeply loyal. When reports about the jersey situation surfaced, emotions intensified immediately. Fans reportedly cancelled subscriptions, returned merchandise, and flooded social media demanding answers. Many view Clark as an underdog despite her success. They see a young athlete facing resistance from an established system and feel compelled to support her. That is why Sophie Cunningham's role resonates so strongly. It gives fans someone within the league who appears to share their concerns. It tells them they are not imagining the problem. It validates their frustration. It creates a narrative of fans and players standing together against the establishment. But the question remains, was there a legitimate basketball reason for leaving Clark off the roster? The committee cited turnovers and defensive inexperience. Those criticisms are reasonable when evaluating a rookie. But many analysts question whether they justify excluding one of the most dynamic offensive players in the world. Many argue they do not. Some players on the roster played fewer minutes and made less impact than Clark likely would have. As a result, the basketball explanations feel incomplete to many observers. If the jersey number 12 rumor is accurate, it suggests the committee believed she was talented enough to contribute. What they struggled with was the size of her brand. They wanted her presence without her influence. They wanted her involved, but not leading the conversation. And when that became impossible, they moved on without her. The long-term effects of this decision will be fascinating to watch. How will future players interpret what happened? Will they see Clark's treatment and question whether talent alone is enough? Will they conclude that politics matters just as much as performance? Or could this become the beginning of a larger change? Perhaps more players will follow Sophie Cunningham's example and speak openly when they disagree with established power structures. In many ways, we may be witnessing the transition between two versions of the WNBA. The old guard is fighting to maintain control, but the momentum of a new era continues to grow. Caitlin Clark remains at the center of that change whether people welcome it or not. The financial side of this story remains one of the most confusing aspects. The WNBA is ultimately a business. Businesses exist to generate revenue. Caitlin Clark has become one of the league's most valuable attractions. By creating distance between themselves and Clark, and by allegedly presenting the jersey swap proposal, critics argue the league effectively turned away significant money. The Olympic Games offered a worldwide stage. It was an opportunity to introduce new fans to the future of women's basketball. Instead, many felt the focus remained on familiar faces from 4 years earlier. It was a missed opportunity to transform Olympic viewers into long-term WNBA supporters. Marketing principles are simple: you showcase your strongest product. Many critics believe Team USA chose not to do that because they were uncomfortable with the attention that product attracted. We also cannot ignore the pressure placed on the players who accepted those roster spots and jersey numbers. They entered the tournament under intense scrutiny. Every mistake became a headline. Had Team USA lost, criticism would have landed directly on the selection committee. Yet even after winning, many believe they still lost the public relations battle. The conversation was never simply about Team USA winning gold. It quickly became about what might have happened if Caitlin Clark had been there. That is the unfortunate reality. The accomplishments of the roster became overshadowed by the controversy surrounding the omission. The veterans wanted attention for their success, but excluding Clark ensured attention would remain focused elsewhere. It became a problem of their own making. Returning to Sophie Cunningham, her reported refusal to go along with the situation stands out as a sign of character. Following the crowd is easy. Joining criticism of a rookie is easy when others are doing the same.
Speaking up requires courage.
If reports of her opposition are accurate, many believe she deserves recognition. She demonstrates that competition and respect can exist together. You can want to defeat Caitlin Clark on the court without wanting to embarrass her away from it. That is genuine sportsmanship, and many feel the selection committee lost sight of that principle. Looking ahead, the major question remains whether the WNBA will learn from this experience. Will league leaders accept that Clark's popularity cannot be resisted forever?
Or will they continue fighting against it?
The jersey number 12 controversy may eventually be remembered as one of the biggest avoidable mistakes in sports management.
It represented a moment when emotion appeared to outweigh logic.
Yet it also energized a massive fan base. It showed that Caitlin Clark's influence extends beyond any number on a jersey. Whether she wears 12, 50, or 99, her performance remains the same.
Her talent speaks louder than politics.
And for those like Sophie Cunningham who reportedly refused to accept what they viewed as unfair treatment, many believe they will be remembered favorably.
The truth is that this story is still unfolding.
The tension between longtime stars and the emerging generation will continue shaping the WNBA in the seasons ahead. Every matchup involving Taurasi, Stewart, or Clark will carry echoes of this controversy. Every appearance by Sophie Cunningham will remind some fans of her reported stand. League officials attempted to control the narrative, but many believe they lost control the moment jersey numbers became part of the discussion. Their effort to humble a rookie instead exposed deeper insecurities. That perception may be difficult to erase.
So where does the story go next? Fans have already delivered their verdict. The engagement numbers speak for themselves. Content discussing the snub often attracts more attention than Olympic highlights. That reveals what audiences care about most. They care about fairness. They care about respect.
And they want to see the best athletes competing. The WNBA now faces a choice. It can evolve or risk falling behind.
Building the future while clinging to the past is impossible.
The jersey number 12 controversy became a symbol of a hierarchy many fans believe no longer exists. Caitlin Clark has changed the landscape, and no amount of gatekeeping can reverse that reality. In the end, this situation may have benefited Caitlin Clark more than anyone expected.
It gave her a break.